Taylor Swift was in her Nashville home studio on a quiet autumn afternoon, surrounded by half-finished lyrics and the soft hum of her recording equipment. The clock read a little after 2 when her phone buzzed on the desk. An unfamiliar Los Angeles number flashed across the screen. She hesitated for half a second before answering. Taylor Swift speaking. "Mrs. Swift, this is Marcus Chen from the Recording Academy. Do you have a moment?" Her heartbeat quickened. The Recording Academy didn't call for casual reasons. With Grammy nominations just days away, this could only mean one thing. She set her guitar aside and took a breath. "I'm calling to inform you," Marcus continued, "that your album, The Life of a Showgirl, has been selected as a finalist for Album of the Year at the 68th Annual Grammy Awards. Congratulations." For a moment, Taylor couldn't speak. Album of the Year, the crown jewel of all categories. She had been here before, but this album was different. It was raw, personal, written from the parts of her that didn't usually make it to the stage lights. Tears stung her eyes as she managed, "Thank you so much. That means the world to me." Marcus smiled through the line. The ceremony will be held on April 12, 2026, at the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. As a major nominee, we'd love to confirm your attendance. There will be rehearsals, media, and the full show. Can we count on you to be there? Taylor's hand froze halfway to her calendar. April 12, 2026. Her eyes locked on the date she had circled in red ink months ago. Hearts drawn around it, a small note in her handwriting. Our wedding day. April 12th? She repeated quietly. "Yes, that's correct," Marcus said. "Is there an issue?" Taylor swallowed hard. "That's my wedding day." There was a pause on the other end of the line, a silence heavy enough to make Taylor's chest tighten. "Oh, I see," Marcus finally said, his voice careful but firm. "That's unfortunate timing, but I'm afraid the ceremony date is locked in. The contracts are signed, the broadcast scheduled. We can't move it." Taylor pressed a hand to her forehead, staring at the red-circled date on her wall. "But that's the day I'm getting married." "I understand," Marcus said, sounding genuinely sympathetic. "But Taylor, this is Album of the Year. It's the pinnacle of musical recognition. Millions of artists dream of being in your position. Surely there's a way to adjust your plans." Taylor felt her stomach twist. The words stung, even though she knew he didn't mean them cruelly. Adjust your plans, as if a wedding could be rescheduled like a sound check. "I'll need to think about this," she said quietly. "Of course," Marcus replied. "We'll need your decision within 2 weeks. If you can't attend, we'll plan accordingly. But, and forgive me for being blunt, if you're not there and you win, the optics aren't great." When the call ended, Taylor sat in the silence of her studio, her phone still in her hand, her heart thudding in her ears. Around her, the instruments, the lyric sheets, the trophies, they all seemed to blur. The Recording Academy had just asked her to make the one choice she never thought she'd have to make, her wedding or the Grammys. After 10 long minutes of disbelief, she picked up her phone again and scrolled to the contact that mattered most. "Hey, babe," came Travis's voice when he answered, slightly out of breath from practice. "Can you come home after practice?" She said softly. "We need to talk." The concern in his tone was instant. "That sounds serious. Everything okay? Just come home." 3 hours later, the front door opened, and Travis Kelce stepped into their Kansas City home, sweat still clinging to his practice gear. He barely had time to drop his bag before he saw Taylor at the kitchen table, her laptop open, her eyes red and swollen. "Taylor," he said immediately, crossing to her. "What's wrong?" She looked up at him with a tremulous smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I got a call from the Recording Academy today," she began softly. "I'm a finalist for Album of the Year." For a heartbeat, his face lit up. "Baby, that's incredible. Why are you—" His voice faltered as he saw the tears in her eyes. "The ceremony," Taylor whispered. "It's on April 12th. It took a few seconds for the date to register. Then his expression shifted, joy fading into disbelief. "Wait, April 12th? Our wedding day." Taylor nodded, her throat tight. "They said they can't move it. The date's locked, everything's signed. They need my answer within 2 weeks. Travis sank into the chair across from her, rubbing the back of his neck. So what are you thinking? I don't know, Taylor said honestly, her voice cracking. If I don't go, it looks like I don't care. Like I'm ungrateful. But if I do go, she couldn't finish. Travis stared at her in silence for a moment, then asked carefully, Are you saying you want to postpone the wedding? It's not that simple, Taylor said, her frustration rising with her panic. It's the Grammys, Travis. It's Album of the Year. It's everything I've worked for my entire life. Travis's voice hardened. And marrying me is what, second place? Something that can be rescheduled to fit your career? That's not fair, she snapped, standing up. You know that's not what I mean. Then what do you mean? He demanded. Because from where I'm standing, it sounds like you're saying an award show matters more than the day we start our life together. Taylor's eyes filled again. I'm saying they both matter. Why do I have to choose? Because that's life, Travis said quietly. Sometimes you have to choose what matters most. I thought our wedding was that thing. Her voice broke. It is, Travis. It is. Then prove it, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The air between them was electric. Not with love, but with the tension of two hearts pulling in opposite directions. Travis, please, Taylor said, her voice trembling. You have to understand what this means to me. I've been working since I was 14 years old for moments like this. I can't just— I'm not asking you to give up your career, Travis interrupted, his tone sharp but pained. I'm asking you to put us first for one day. One single day, Taylor's breath hitched. And what about all the times I've put you first? The times I've rearranged my tour schedule to be at your games? The nights I flew across the country just to see you play? That's different, he said. How? She demanded. Because none of those times were our wedding day. Travis's voice rose, echoing through the kitchen. I've never asked you to choose between me and your career on the one day that's supposed to be about us. Taylor pressed her hands to her face, tears spilling between her fingers. Don't make this about whether I love you or not. You know I love you. I do, he said, quieter now but no less firm. But love isn't the question, Taylor. It's about priorities. If you can't put us first on our wedding day, how can I believe you'll put us first in our marriage? Don't do this, she whispered. Don't say that. Then help me understand, Travis said, stepping closer, his voice cracking now, too. Because right now, it feels like I'm fighting for something that should already matter most to you. Taylor looked up at him, eyes filled with heartbreak. I need time to think. He stared at her for a long moment. How much time? I don't know, she said weakly. The Academy needs an answer in 2 weeks. Travis's jaw tightened. So you need 2 weeks to decide if I'm worth missing the Grammys for? That's not what I said. He grabbed his keys, his movements heavy with frustration. I'm going to Jason's. I need some space. Travis, please don't go, Taylor begged, stepping forward. He paused at the door. Can we even fix this, Taylor? Because right now, it feels like we're standing on opposite sides of everything that matters. The door shut softly behind him, leaving her alone, surrounded by silence and the sound of her own sobs. The next few days blurred together into a haze of sleepless nights and tense phone calls. Taylor and Travis spoke in fragments, some calm, some explosive, some filled with the kind of silence that said more than words ever could. Every conversation circled back to the same impossible choice. Travis wanted her to choose the wedding. Taylor wanted him to understand why she couldn't. On the 8th day, everything changed. Taylor's phone started buzzing nonstop. Texts from her publicist, her manager, her friends. When she opened Twitter, her stomach dropped. TMZ exclusive. Taylor Swift faces impossible choice. Grammy Awards or her wedding. But a few hours later, her publicist called with the opposite message. Taylor, if you skip the Grammys for your wedding, the story becomes that you gave up your career for a man. You'll be criticized. It'll undo years of work showing you can have both love and success. Think carefully about the message you send. Across town, Donna Kelce called her son. Is it really worth all this, honey? Can't you just move the date? Mom, we've been planning this for a year, Travis said, exhausted. It's not about the date anymore. It's about what the date means, Donna sighed. But this is huge for her, Travis. You have to see that. I do, he said quietly. I just thought our wedding would be huge for her, too. 12 days after the call from the recording academy, Taylor and Travis sat across from each other in their living room, both looking drained, like two people who'd been fighting a storm and were finally too tired to stand against it anymore. Taylor spoke first. I've been thinking, what if we elope? Just the two of us, somewhere private, before April 12th. Then we could still have the wedding later and I could attend the Grammys without all this pressure. Travis stared at her, unreadable. Do you know what that sounds like to me? She frowned. What? It sounds like you're trying to have both things without actually choosing either, he said softly. You want to technically get married so you can say you picked me, but still go to the Grammys so you can say you didn't give up your career. That's not choosing, Taylor. That's hedging your bets. Her frustration flared. I'm trying to find a solution. I'm trying to make it work for both of us. There's no version of this where we both get everything we want, Travis said gently but firmly. One of us has to sacrifice something. That's what you're not accepting. Why does anyone have to sacrifice? She whispered, her voice breaking. Why can't we both win? Because life doesn't work that way, he said. And the fact that you can't choose tells me maybe. Maybe I'm not as important to you as you keep saying I am. Taylor's breath caught. Don't you dare say that. I've given you everything. I've rearranged my life for you, over and over again. You're questioning my love because of one day. It's not just one day, Travis said quietly. It's the day that's supposed to mean everything. The silence that followed was heavier than shouting. Finally, Taylor wiped her eyes and said softly, Then you need to hear me out. Really hear me? Travis nodded. I've been Taylor Swift since I was 16, she began. For 20 years, my entire identity has been built around my career. My music, my awards, my fans. It's not just what I do, it's who I am. When you ask me to give that up, even for a day, it feels like you're asking me to give up a part of myself. Travis's eyes softened. I'm not asking you to give it up forever. I'm just asking you to give us one day, to choose our marriage for one single moment in your life. But it's not just the day, Taylor said, her voice trembling. It's what it represents. If I don't show up, people will say, I gave up my career for a man. I've fought my entire life to prove that I don't have to choose between love and success. And now you're asking me to prove the opposite. Travis leaned back, his voice quiet but steady. Can I tell you something? And I need you to really hear me, too. Taylor nodded. I fell in love with you, not the global icon, he said. The woman who laughs at dumb jokes, who cries at animal videos, who burns cookies and doesn't care. But sometimes it feels like that person gets lost inside the brand. And if we start our marriage with you choosing your career over our wedding day, I'm scared I'll lose her completely. Taylor's tears came again, softer now. You won't lose me. Then prove it, Travis said, reaching for her hand. Choose us. Choose April 12th. Let the Grammys happen without you. There will be other awards, other nights, but there's only one day where we become husband and wife. She stared at him through her tears, her voice breaking. What if I give it up and don't win? What if I regret it forever? Then you don't win, Travis said gently. But you'll have me, and I promise you that'll be worth more than any trophy. Taylor sat alone in her studio the next morning, sunlight cutting through the blinds, dust floating in the air like the echoes of a decision she didn't want to make. Her phone was on the desk beside her, Marcus Chen's number still visible from the last call. She'd spent the night turning everything over in her mind. Her career, her fans, her mother's words, Travis's tears. Every path hurt. Every choice meant losing something she loved. But then she remembered what Travis had said. There will be other Grammys, but there's only one day where we become husband and wife. She picked up the phone and dialed. Marcus Chen, speaking. Hi, Marcus, Taylor said, steadying her voice. It's Taylor Swift. Miss Swift, good morning. Have you had a chance to think things over? I have, she said. And I wanted to let you know that I won't be attending the ceremony. There was a pause. "You're certain?" "I am," Taylor said quietly. "That's my wedding day, and I'm not changing it." Marcus exhaled, his tone warm but resigned. "Well, that's disappointing, but I understand. And for what it's worth, Taylor, that's a beautiful reason to miss the Grammys." When she hung up, Taylor expected to feel panic, regret, but instead she felt peace. The decision didn't erase the ache in her chest, but it felt right. Later that afternoon, the announcement went public. Taylor Swift will not attend the Grammy Awards due to her wedding, scheduled for the same day. The internet did what the internet always did. It had opinions. Some called it romantic. Others called it a mistake. But for the first time in a long while, Taylor didn't care what people said. Because on April 12, 2026, as the lights came up in Los Angeles and the Grammys began without her, Taylor Swift stood beneath a canopy of soft white roses in Tennessee, looking into the eyes of the man she loved. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," she smiled through tears, not the kind born of conflict, but the kind born of clarity. That night, while millions watched the Grammys on television, Taylor danced barefoot with Travis under a string of golden lights. The world could have its trophies and applause. She had her husband, her love, her forever. She didn't win Album of the Year that night. But as Travis spun her around the dance floor, her laughter echoing against the music, she knew she'd won something infinitely more lasting.